And you see it right there. Bellator 263 goes down Saturday, July 31st. The Forum in Inglewood, California, and only on Showtime. Tickets go on sale this Friday, June 18th, with a limited pre-sale Thursday, June 17th. Let's bring in the architect of the tournament and this big fight we can't wait for. It's Bellator MMA president Scott Coker. Scott, always great to chat with you, especially ahead of such an anticipated fight. And not only does this fight mark a showcase in one of the sport's deepest divisions and two of the brightest stars in it, also for Bellator, it gets you back on the road outside of trips to Milan and Paris last fall. You've operated shows during this COVID era inside the fight sphere at Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. You'll be back on the road here at the Forum in California. How does it feel after 20-plus events to be traveling again?
Yeah, I tell you, Brian, this is a great moment. This is, to me, the relaunch of the Bellator brand and going back to, what we know is normal in California, which is a very strict state for COVID. They finally released all the colors and got rid of all the blue and the red and the yellow and purple. And now it's back to, be pre-COVID days. So we're excited. We're excited to be in California. We're excited to go back to the Forum where we've had so many great fights. And it's going to be an amazing event. And my staff is excited. The fighters are excited. I mean, when you think about live sports needs fans. And they need that energy. And then we felt it last week at the Mohegan Sun, which has been amazing partners for us. But it's time to travel. It's time to get on the road. It's time to get back to, what Bellator does best. And just put on these great fights, touring from city to city. And then starting on July 31st with the Forum with an amazing fight. Like you said, the finals of the tournament. This is a fight I personally can't wait to see. And I'm really, really excited about this event.
I mentioned you were the architect of this tournament, but that just means collecting the 16 names and giving the platform for these fights to take place. The fighters themselves determine the matchups through a unique fighter lottery. And obviously it was up to them to survive in advance to set up this matchup. In your heart of hearts, when you looked at the field to begin with, if I could have told you Pitbull versus McKee would have been the final, what would your reaction have been?
I mean, listen, this is the fight that everybody wanted to see. And we had so many great athletes in this division that we went through this lottery system. And then we had this great event where, the fighters picked. But at the end of the day, my heart was going, boy, I really hope that it's McKee and Pitbull at the end of the day. Because think about this, when we signed McKee from no fights to where he is today, he's grown into an amazing fighter. And 6 years ago when McKee started on his 17-0 run, Pitbull was our champion back then. So you're talking about the OG versus the new guard, and let's see what happens.
We saw a tease in that video for this Bellator 263 full card, which, of course, Saturday, July 31st on Showtime. Pretty loaded matches up and down, including on the preliminary card alone. What can you tell us about these high-ranking and high-staked fights?
Well, I tell you, this is, like I said, this is going to be our relaunch of the Bellator brand, going into a big stadium like this and, getting back to some type of normalcy. And I when I think about what we have to do, our job is to put the best fight card that we can put together. And the fights that you saw, on the tape, that's just the beginning. This fight from top to bottom is going to be stacked. And we'll have exciting announcements coming out every week over the next 3-4 weeks going into the LA fight.
Thank you so much, Scott. We're definitely looking forward to this one. Let's bring in the coaches to start to get an inside look at this matchup ahead of time, representing Team Pitbull Brothers, the head coach, one of the most flamboyant men in the sport today, captain himself, Eric Albarracin, and of course, Team Bodyshop head coach, the father, the trainer, the accomplished mixed martial artist himself, Antonio McKee. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Eric, I want to start off with you. As the coach of the great Pitbull, the pound-for-pound #1 in Bellator today, it's a challenge as when you're the champion entering this tournament because you get no advantage. What is your reaction to the 3-0 run your fighter, Patricio Pitbull, has put forth up to this point to reach the finals?
Patricio Pitbull's had a bullseye on his back since I think he's been the champ in 2014 when he beat Patrick Curran. And the run is exactly how we planned. We were the matchmakers. We sent Darren Caldwell over to the other side to take out some of those young bucks, and he did, and then he met up with AJ, and AJ took him out. So I think this is the exact perfect fight for this finals. The young up-and-coming undefeated champion. And like you said, the OG, the pound-for-pound best fighter on the planet, Patricio Pitbull. It's going to be the greatest fight in Bellator history.
You know, from an X's and O's, from a game planning standpoint, what does AJ McKee bring to the table that you and Patricio are really going to have to work on ahead of time for this fight, July 31st?
You know, I think he's very young in the game. So still, as he's 17-0, he's still young in the game. And the fact that he's blasted through these guys in this tournament, he's very unpredictable. So it's you don't know what he's going to come with. So, you know, I think it's more so that they don't know how to prepare for Patricio Pitbull. It's Pitbull who's the pound-for-pound best on the planet. It's Pitbull who's the champ. It's Pitbull who has the best coaches in the game. They don't know how to prepare for that. So I think although AJ is very unpredictable and he's finishing champions out there in pretty fast fashion, I still think it's Pitbull's he changes and evolves every fight. You can prepare for him. You may think you have the answers, but we're going to change the questions.
Antonio McKee, your rebuttal, sir.
Am I on the scene now?
You on?
Okay. Hey, all respect to Pitbull and the whole little Pitbull tribe. They done a great job. I mean, I can't take away the accomplishments. That's not my job. My job is to coach my fighters to be the best in the world. And so we've proven that out of 17 fights and out of fights that people said we were going to get finished. It was going to be a tough fight. We went through it in less than a minute. So as far as what everyone's talking about, I don't listen to that. We got a goal. We have a plan. So far, that plan's been working. We're undefeated. Again, Pitbull, I give him all the credit in the world, great accolades. Can't take nothing from him, but you're just talking about a younger, faster, harder hitting, stronger, bigger, longer. He's got his hands cut out for him. We know what he does. He does it very well. But you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Antonio.
Hey, you know what? First off, I'd like to say Happy Father's Day, Antonio. AJ McKee. You're a legend. I know your story, how against all odds you raised AJ to be a great kid, an undefeated fighter. All I'm saying is after July 30th, AJ doesn't have to call Patricio Pitbull daddy, but a Father's Day present would be nice. Maybe a tie?
Sounds good. I like your enthusiasm. I think you're doing a great job over there. But again, bro, you're dealing with some shit. You have no idea of what you're about to deal with. You just don't get it.
You're at your gym. What's the name of your gym?
It's the Bodyshop.
Makes sense because when he fights Pitbull, he's going to catch a body.
Oh, you mean he's going to catch? You know what that means in the street, right? AJ's going to catch a body. That means he's going to take Pitbull out. So, hey, get it together over there, player. You're speaking things into fruition.
Coach McKee, to jump in here for a second, your son AJ, unbeaten, already setting Bellator records for consecutive victories. An 8-second knockout of Georgi Karkanian in the first round of this tournament. A 1 minute or more submission of Darian Caldwell. How much do you believe AJ has actually been forced to show up to this point of how great he actually is?
Well, I've been telling Scott Coker since day one. I said, hey, he's different. He's not like most fighters. This kid's something special. Take a look at him. Scott took a look at him and said, yeah, he's got something. And then you've watched him evolve over the years of maturity. It was just maturing as a human being. And now he's at a point now where he understands it. His ability to be able to read movement is just amazing. And that's something that you can't teach that. That's something that just comes over a period of time. And I can't see, I just don't, I'm more scared for this fight because to me, as a coach, this is probably one of the easiest fights in the lineup.
Hey, I want to say, the easiest, Oh, you have no idea. But I'll tell you the truth, congrats on that record of undefeated, of that 0 that you guys have on your record. And by that, I mean your gym has produced 0 world champions.
Actually, you don't know the history of me. Rampage was a world champion. Tyron Woodley was a world champion. So, let's not talk about, because I don't brag about what I do. I don't look for the credit for it. I just want the best for my fighters. You, on the other hand, you may enjoy that, and that's your thing, brother. You like to be loud, flamboyant, flashy. That's you. I respect that. But as far as me bragging and getting accolades for what I do as a coach, I'm not in it for that. I'm in it for much personal reasons. And if you understood where I came from and what I really had to go through, then maybe you wouldn't say that type of stuff. But it's okay. I understand, because like you said, July 31st, all cards are on the table, and then you can get that exhibition match since you're a state champ, whatever wrestler. Don't matter what weight. I don't care what you weigh. And we'll do a $10,000 donation to a charity of choice. And I'm going to spank that ass, because I'm going to give you 5 points ahead. Now, let's get back to the real thing.
Wait. Come on, Mandingo. Come on, Mandingo. Last time you wrestled, Charlie Sheen only had herpes. Give me a break.
Well, everybody's got jokes here. Let me jump in for a minute. And we have a hungry group of media looking to get their questions answered. So if I could throw it over to PR Maven of the Stars, Danny Brenner, to take the questions from the media for Coach Albarracin and Coach McKee.
Thanks, Brian. We'll take 2 questions. We'll start with Greg Rosenstein, and Greg, take it away.
Yeah, bro. All right, thanks. Questions for Antonio. Antonio, you've spoken a lot about kind of your hardships growing up and how, early on with AJ, you guys even lived in a garage together. If he ends up winning this tournament, what do you think that would just say about your journey together?
Well, God is good. I lived a different life. I grew up, it wasn't all good and cherry. And I was, just dealing with a lot of stuff that a lot of Afro-American black men that grow up with no mother or no father, growing up in the streets of LA. And, it was what it was, but I made the right decisions, never got caught for anything that I did that could have put me away for the rest of my life, and found my drive and motivation through my son, just the things he would say as a kid, like, Daddy, if you die, can I die with you? And like, I was contemplating, I didn't give a shit about living. I didn't have a problem with killing either. And then there was a point where it hit me one day when he says, Dad, wherever you do and wherever you go, I want to go with you. And when he said that, I looked at him like, because I was ready to clock out. But then I realized I needed to be here. I needed to be here for him, not having a family. He had nothing but me. So that gave me the drive and the strength to say, you know what, I got to figure a better way out. And that was a challenge within itself. But you know what, I made it this far. Again, I did my thing as a wrestler. I was the best in the world. I beat the Olympic champion, John Smith, who never lost. I mean, I did what I was doing, but I didn't have the mindset. So then I had to critique my mental and learn how to be a human being, a respectable human being, because I was a grimy, ugly, didn't care type of guy. And once I learned that, things started to shift a little different. And now here you have it. I did a great job. I did things to keep him in private school. I didn't do things to buy cars with loud music and jewelry and gold. I did it to pay his school tuition, which was $500 a month. And that was a lot of money for back then. So I just believe that I'm blessed. I've been challenged, the hardship, even in my own career, bumping up against Dana White and talking and holding my ground with him and his contracts and how I didn't agree with him. And, I've just been that kind of stand-up guy. And I'm going to go out like that.
Thanks, Tone. We'll go to Nolan King next.
Hey, Antonio. Quick question. I heard you say earlier that you thought Patricio was one of the easier fights. What makes you say that? What do you see that makes you think that this is one of the easier matchups for AJ?
Well, one, the range. And range has a lot to do with, a fight and understanding movement and gauging that range. He's been fighting the same way for quite some time. I don't think you can change it in 8 weeks. I don't think you can change it in 10 weeks. I don't think you can change it in 2 months. We've been training for this since day one. We have a very unique style that he hasn't seen before, and he's been doing it on and off. And I just think it's just going to be too overwhelming, and he's got to close the distance. And what are we worried about? Wrestling? You want to wrestle? We're not worried about wrestling. He'll struggle no matter where this fight is. He won't be able to relax. So with that being said, as far as speed and power, Only thing we're really concerned about is making sure that USADA steps in and make sure these fighters do drug tests. Because, a fighter being at his age, not accusing him of anything, but I look at pictures of him in the past and I look at pictures of him now, and I'm a 51-year-old man, and you see this shit, I'm yacked up, and this is all natural hard work. But let me tell you something, to maintain that type of muscle genetically, it's a lot harder for others versus someone, people of color, not to bring color into it, but genetically it's a little different. So I'm just looking forward to USADA just making sure we get those good tests and everything's great because we're going to pass all the tests. In fact,
you don't worry about USADA. You should be worried about that wrestling defense. You should be worried about that wrestling defense.
You're not
Israel Adesanya's baby got better wrestling defense than AJ.
Stop. You don't have a better wrestler than Joey Davis in your whole camp. Only person that Joey had any type of struggle with, and he came out on top, was Usman, who's the UFC champ. Other than that, he's walked through everybody. And so you think a guy that's 4'9" can out wrestle a guy that's standing 5'11"? Like, do you do your math?
133, 4-time NCAA.
No, not happening.
Hey, you talking about? Come on, Joey Davis. You talking about? We got Olympic champions over here. I brought him to the Olympic Training Center.
Let me explain something to you. Not all Afro-Americans grow up in an environment that would allow them to even go that far. It's not a matter of being black or white, but unfortunately, we come from a distressed life, and we're not afraid to talk about it. He grew up in the streets of Compton, drive-bys, AK-47s going through his house. He lived with me part-time. This kid had all odds against him. So, again, what you're talking about, Olympic-level wrestling and all, look, we don't have any of that.
We got undefeated.
We're just good at what we do, and when it comes to fighting and transitioning, we're the best at it.
I hear AJ in the background. I think he should get in. He want to say something.
He'll get his time. He'll get his time to talk.
Don't invite me to a good time.
Nolan, you had one more question for Eric, and then we'll get to the fighters.
Yeah, Eric, AJ's fights recently in this tournament have been so quick. Do you feel like there's still things that you can pull out? Have you seen any flaws in his game that you guys feel like you're going to be able to expose?
Yeah, you know what? They're there. We study them. You go back from his first fight in the Bellator all the way to now. You go back and watch what Coach McKee tells them in the corner. You watch their training. You study, and we have the best coaching staff in the game. We got Mano Santana for karate. We got a 2-time Olympian and a world champion boxing coach named Everton. We have the
Who cares?
disciples and their coaches with
Who cares? Who cares? The coaches aren't getting in the ring and fighting. They're not fighting. Your fighters fighting. Fuck your coaches. No disrespect, but we don't give a shit about that.
Well, we're the coaches that are putting the game plan together.
That seems like the perfect transition.
I think COVID-19 is like AJ's punching power. It's all a hoax.
Special thanks to the coaches here.
We're going to kick the guy then. Maybe we'll kick the guy. Maybe we'll submit him. We can do whatever we want to do. It's just a matter of what AJ reads. He's the reader here, not me. I'm just a coach.
All right, Eric, Antonio, we appreciate your comments here. Let's bring in the fighters themselves who will take the cage. July 31st, Bellator 263, the world featherweight title on the line and the $1 million prize as Bellator Featherweight World Grand Prix champion. It's the champ himself from Brazil, 32-4. Number 1 pound for pound under the Bellator MMA banner, Patricio Pitbull, and of course his opponent at 17-0, 26 years old, AJ McKee. Patricio, always great to chat with you. You're such an accomplished career, 2-division champion. When you look at the challenge across from you in AJ McKee, what do you have to focus on entering this fight?
I believe that's a perfect fight. Because now finish this guy.
Hey, your dial-up ain't working.
Patricio, you've gone 3-0 up to this point in this tournament. You're fresh off a first-round submission win against Emmanuel Sanchez. Can you speak to your evolution in your game over the past few years in getting you to this point for this fight?
It was just patient, understand the time of something like that. And now I'm a little bit older than the rest of my division, and I know the power that I have, how fast I am, and I'm gonna use this in my favor.
AJ McKee, we mentioned, just 26 years old, unbeaten. This will be the brightest stage you have gotten to this point in your career. How excited are you, as I mentioned earlier, talking to your dad, to find an opponent who might be able to pull out of you everything that's under the hood?
I think it's been a great journey, man. This is something I've dreamed of the entire time. Like I said, I've been calling Pitbull's name since I first stepped in that cage. He's ignored me, act like he don't know who I am. But at the end of the day, there's nowhere else to run. There's nowhere to hide. He's got to look me in my eyes, and we got to get down to the nitty gritty. So I'm looking forward to it, man. At the end of the day, everybody says I haven't been tested. And I'll agree, I haven't been tested. And I promise you guys, the day I do get tested, you're going to see a different animal come out. So if that's the stick he wants to draw, then hey, that's for us to go in there and tango with, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like I always say, it's going to be sweet like mango.
Pitbull has become the face of Bellator MMA, 2-division champion, pound for pound best. But you're homegrown within this banner. You're already setting records up to this point. Do you feel like, in addition to the title, the tournament championship, the money, that it's almost like if you defeat Patricio Pitbull on July 31st, that you're the new face of the franchise?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then I want to run it back for that second belt as well, just so we can, like, solidify that stamp on that, you know what I mean? So it's something before Conor did being the champ and so forth. Like these are all things I've said I'm going to do, and these are things that I'm going to do. So speaking into fruition, and now it actually coming to within the reach and being able to actually grasp everything and bring it all together. I'm ready, man. This has been a long journey, you know what I mean? And it's all here, you know what I mean? I went through the trials and tribulations and not wanting to fight, being in the cage and not wanting to fight to where I'm hungry again, to where I love it. I found the passion in what I do again. So it's going to be fun, man. Especially the long break, going through knee surgery and so forth. It's a lot has opened up in my mind within the past year and a half, 2 years. So I'm looking forward to going in there and doing what I do best, and that's put on a great show. You know, the mercenary does one thing. He signs a contract and he takes a person out.
All right, let's turn it back to Danny Brenner to welcome back the media for questions for the two fighters in the main event.
Thanks, Brian. We'll get started here with Mike Heck. Your line is live.
Hey, Patricio. Just a quick question for you. Antonio, AJ's coach, feels like you were the easiest draw in this entire tournament heading into this fight. I'm curious where you sort of put AJ in this tournament after the wins over Emmanuel Sanchez, after the win over Pedro Carvalho. Where would you put AJ in terms of your toughest test in this tournament?
O pai de AJ disse que você era a luta mais fácil que poderia ter nesse torneio. E ele está perguntando, depois de todas as lutas que você teve no torneio, onde você ranqueia AJ em nível de dificuldade nesse torneio?
AJ is the
my side is cramping up.
AJ is the most dangerous, and I know that. I'm ready to defend my title. I know I'm gonna win this fight and prove that his father is wrong.
And then for you, AJ, this is an interesting kind of place that you're in your career at 26 years of age. You're 17-0. You're embarking on this journey. You become the featherweight champion. You say you want to go ahead and possibly run it back at 55 and become a 2-division champion in your next fight. So if that happens and you go back to back and win both of these titles, like, what else can you do? Like, what else is there for you?
I don't know. That's a good question. At that point, we got to sit down, go to the drawing board, I guess, defend the belt a couple times and see what to do. You know, I can't really think that far ahead. I got to focus on the task at hand. And right now it's conquering my first world title and my $1 million check. You know, like I said, I got an extra O to fight for. You know, it's not just those 6 O's on that $1 million check, but I'm fighting for that O on my record. I got a lot to prove. And for me, yeah, I love the haters. I love the underdog. I always root for him, and I'm ready to go out there and do what I do best, you know, and that's take people out. I got a question though. How come it look like the coaches at the gym and the fighters at home? That don't make sense to me. Yeah, y'all know where I'm at. Y'all see the attire. I'm war ready anytime.
Our next question will come from the line of
gym player.
I am in my room now. Just enjoy my belts. You see that?
Enjoy them while you can. Enjoy them while you can.
That's why I'm in my room. I have a day off.
Because you comfortable. You're too comfortable. You too comfortable. You got a hitter coming for your neck. You know what it is. You can't avoid. You can't duck. You can't hop to the other side of the bracket. None of that shit no more. None of that. Right here. You know what it is. Right here. I got around. And I know exactly what round.
You will see.
You're going to get desperate. Watch. You're going to get desperate and get laid out.
We'll go to Jay Anderson for the next question.
Hey, thanks very much. And AJ, I mean, you mentioned the wait for this fight a little, and you've been waiting since November for this opportunity. That's a long time to be focused on a fight, even though you didn't necessarily know who the opponent would be. I'm just wondering what that stretch of time has been like for you. And you mentioned, finding that passion again. What brought that back for you?
What brought it back? I would just say knowing my calling, man. I went through a little rough patch. It probably obviously isn't nothing compared to the life my father lived, but we all have our trials and tribulations in life, and it's being able to grow in those and learn from it so you don't fall victim to the same stuff over and over and over. And for me, that was a big part. I don't know, man. Since November, I've been calling Pitbull's name for 6 years. He's ignored and act like he doesn't know who I am. So for me, that automatically shows me something. Either you see fear in me, or you already know what the issue is and you're just trying to compromise somehow. So for me, at the end of the day, everything else is irrelevant. When we step in that cage, these are going to do the talking. And that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I've prepared for. And that's what I've looked forward to for 4 or 5 years. You go to my interviews 5 years ago, I'm calling his name. AJ, who's AJ? You know exactly who the fuck AJ is. Don't sit here and play like you got amnesia, dog. You know exactly who I am, and you know exactly what I want and exactly what I'm coming to take. And that's why you're sitting in that room enjoying those belts right now, because both them mugs is coming home with me. And that's what it is.
And Pitbull, he talks about that second fight, the lightweight title. Would that interest you?
Let me say something, please. That's very curious because his father told us I am the easiest fight. And I am telling
you are, because we've been preparing for it since day one. That's where you fucked up. You've ignored me. You've ignored me and played your game. You can't ignore me. I'm coming.
I know you are danger, and I am prepared for that. I'm ready for you.
Yeah.
And I know.
Yeah, you think you know who I am.
You know who I am.
And you know exactly who I am.
You know who I am.
Who are you? What do you want? You know what I want. You know what I want. I want my belts. Bring them mugs. Spit polish.
Thanks, guys. We'll take our next question from Gareth Davies. Gareth, your line is live.
Good evening. To the fighters and the coaches. I want to carry on this theme and hear it from AJ. Obviously, Antonio McKee is saying that Patricio is your easiest fight. Could you, as the fighter, tell us exactly why you think that? And then could I have the response from Patricio afterwards, please?
So, like I said, this is the fight we've prepared for since my first fight. He's been that man since we've stepped in that cage. So just always preparing for him. And then once again, I got almost a foot longer reach on him. He's got to come to me. Then at the same time, okay, if he wants to wrestle, yeah, you got your gold medals and all, whoever the hell trains over there. But all that shit's irrelevant. You can wrestle. You can play hump my leg, and I'm going to do the same thing to you that I did to Pat Curran, to Cardwell, and everybody else. I'm comfortable off of my back. You know what I mean? Just because you're Brazilian, you got the jiu-jitsu. Well, I got that evolved jiu-jitsu wrestling. You know what I mean? I'm not just about to do a straight arm bar. I'm about to pull some finesse on that ass. You know what I mean? Whatever I hit you with, you're not going to see coming. So,
oh, my God.
He's my guy, too.
That's beautiful. You are big and long. Oh,
And I hit like a truck. 17 fights, 12 finishes, 10 in the first round. What's your stats look like? You got finishes, but how many you finishing in the first round?
I don't care. I have finished in the 50th round. That's it. I have the power to begin.
I got another question. How many times you didn't took an L? I beat people you lose to.
Sorry?
No one will beat me. No one. Ever. This right here, my mental, it's on lock. And like I said, I got the key to the game. McKee. No, you hear it? No. McKee.
You are not complete yet. I'm going to make you be complete.
Yeah. You think I'm not complete.
Yes. After defeat before, you take a belt. One day you're going to be the world champ. Not now.
AJ, can I ask
you know that one day it will be July 31st.
AJ.
At the Forum in Los Angeles while everyone roars my name and you'll be laying on the ground, flatline.
I'm going to beat you for your crown.
You think that.
Be ready for
that.
All right, AJ, we'll take one more question from Gareth and then we'll move on to our last question after that.
Let me just ask you to clarify this then, AJ. Obviously, you're incredibly confident. As you said, you've had Patricio as a target for a very long time. Just be clear to us, though. Do you have a respect for what Patricio is and what he has achieved?
Definitely. Nothing but respect, man. Nothing but respect. He's done things that I dream of doing, things that I'm going to do. And that's why I have so much respect for him. But at the end of the day, when he's stepping in front of me and he is now a pawn in this game of chess and he's stopping me from moving where I need to move, that's when the respect has to have a level. You know what I mean? And that's why it's your respect level. I respect him to a certain level. And the level of respect that doesn't come back, that just fuels my fire. You know what I mean? And that's what I said. You can try to ignore me. You can try to act like who I am and you don't know who I am. But at the end of the day, when we both hop in that cage, I don't give a fuck what his coach does, what none of his teammates do, or no one else. He's going to deal with someone he's never dealt with before.
Fight on the division. I know that. I know who you are.
Okay.
You are the most dangerous. I'm going to beat you. I know you are dangerous. Stop saying that. It don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And it didn't make sense to me why you would say that for 2-3 years. I don't know who you are. Who are you? You know exactly who the fuck I am. Let's keep it real, bro. I'm a young goat, and I'm coming for everything you got. So you tried to ignore me, and that's why you switched all the good fighters in the tournament to one side of the bracket, hoping Cardwell could do something that you didn't want to do because you knew you couldn't fucking do what he was going to do wrestling-wise. So you wanted to see, what's Cardwell going to do? Can Cardwell take him down? How's that going to finish? And look at how that turned up for him. 1 minute and 11 seconds. 1 minute and 11. Pay attention to the numbers. 1-1-1. Because that's where I am. I'm number one. One in the world. Think about the drawing. Number one. I'm number one. Since day one. You've been protected, but your time's over, dog. I'm coming for your neck. I told you, that leash and a kennel. I'm taking your ass to the pound, dog.
That's it.
All right, we'll take our next question from Dylan Bowker.
Hey there, appreciate you making some time. My first question is for AJ, because your father was talking about some of the difficulties you had in your upbringing. You also were talking about just reigniting the fire in the context of your fighting career. Can you even encapsulate it and put it into words how it feels to be readying for this, $1 million Grand Prix final title bout?
It's scary, you know what I mean? It's scary because we are prepared and everything has been done right. There's no worry, there's no concern, there's, you know what I mean? There's no fear. So it's like, for me, I was fighting with broken hands. I was just going through shit in life, you know what I mean? But never expose that to anyone. I'm going to just do what I got to do, you know what I mean? That's the mentality that my dad's always put in me. Do what you got to do. Don't complain about the shit. Man up, take it the way it is, and keep it pushing. So at the end of the day, I'm not worried, you know what I mean? I've been preparing for this fight since the Cardwell fight. I already knew what Cardwell was going to do. He was going to come out, I was going to hit his ass, and he's going to go into wrestle mode. That's exactly what happened. So like I've said, this has been the fight for 17 fights that I've prepared for. He hasn't paid attention to me for 17 fights. He's ignored me for about 10, and then the last 7 realized, oh shit, this kid's the truth. Let me get prepared. It's not enough time, man. I'm 10 fights ahead on game planning on that ass. So at the end of the day, I'm ready to just go in there, man, and do what I do best. I could have fought last month. I could fight right now. I could have fought a year ago. You know what I mean? So I'm just ready. I'm ready. I'm glad the contract's finally signed. I'm happy to see his name on it. And hey, we make this a family affair ass. I don't care. Everybody could get this smoke, because with smoke comes fire, and I'm bringing it.
And just as a quick follow-up to Patricio, if I could, because you seemed like you had a level of respect for AJ McKee in the context of the Grand Prix field. I'm kind of wondering how AJ McKee ranks to you in terms of just your total MMA resume and just all the fighters you've competed against.
Acho de AJ e todos os adversários que ele competiu até agora.
In the beginning of his career, I think it's normal. He was face guys from level baixo, low level, but now fought against tough guys. Enjoying all these years training and put on his mind that he was my belt. And I know that I'm watching this. So I still here as a champion, and gonna still as a champion of this fight. You will see that.
Thanks for taking the time, guys.
All right, and we'll take our very last question here from the line of Steven. Your line is live.
Hey, just a quick question for Scott, actually. USADA was brought up a little bit earlier, and I presume this fight is regulated by the California State Athletic Commission. So I'm guessing it's their protocol in terms of testing. There's not going to be any additional testing.
Yeah, that's going to be the protocol is going to be done by the California State Athletic Commission, and we'll be talking to Andy Foster, and we'll bring up what the coaches are worried about. But listen,
pay for the test. I'll pay for whatever test. All of them.
And here's the thing. Listen. The commission will govern it, and we've been in business with these guys for a long time, and there's never been an issue. So, to me, I think that everything's fine.
And are you guys going to sort of import the COVID protocols that you had backstage at the Mohegan over for the forum?
Yeah, are you talking about the bubble situation?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I was talking to Andy Foster, and I think by the time the fight happens, that will probably be gone. It won't be implemented by the State Athletic Commission. But we will talk to Viacom to see what their position is going to be. But with even if the state doesn't want to do it, but Viacom wants us to do it, we will do it. But we're still figuring it out. But right now, California State, there is no bubble. There's no extra precaution for COVID we had to show a vaccine proof or a COVID negative test. I think the bubble has gone away with the State Athletic Commission as of May 20th.
All right, and we'll turn it back over to Brian Campbell to wrap this up.
Thanks so much, everybody. Special thanks to both fighters and coaches, Bellator MMA President Scott Coker, and the media for their questions. A reminder, it all goes down the Bellator World Featherweight Grand Prix Finals, Saturday, July 31st, from the Forum in Inglewood, California. It's Bellator 263, live on Showtime. Patricio Pitbull versus AJ McKee. Tickets, once again, go on sale Friday, June 18th, with a limited pre-sale Thursday, June 17th. Thank you so much for joining the Bellator 263 press conference ahead of Pitbull McKee. Look forward to seeing you at the fight Saturday, July 31st. My name is Brian Campbell. Thank you so much.